Welcome to Clause 8, the #1 podcast on intellectual property, trusted by top in-house counsel, judges, and policymakers worldwide. Hosted by Eli Mazur, we bring you in-depth conversations with the personality shaping IP. Brought to you by TradeSpace, where ideas take flight.
So, when we started this back in January, we really refocused examiners on doing the examination work. So previously, primary examiners were assisting the supervisors with usually, utilizing non-production time, which if you're doing non-production time, you don't have to do production, but they were utilizing that time to assist the SPEs in the coaching, mentoring, and training and review of work. Starting in January, we really focused supervisors back on the review of work, the coaching, the mentoring, that a manager and a supervisor, the caretakers of the examiners should focus on, and refocus examiners on examination. During all that time, every junior examiner, all their work products, be they first office actions all the way through finals, allowances, they have to be reviewed by someone with signatory authority, mainly the SPE. Last fiscal year, we also required supervisors to do at least 2 deep dive reviews per examiner per quarter. That's really to kind of evaluate their overall quality for rating purposes, in addition to all the other reviews SPEs do for SIG panels, appeal conferences, error rebuttals, everything. This fiscal year, the 2 changes we put in is we've required, instead of 2 reviews per examiner per quarter, we're moving that to 4, so at least 4 per examiner per quarter, these deep level reviews. And also, we put in this process of streamlined reviews, where our primary examiners and our examiners with partial SIG authority, permanent partial SIG authority, those examiners who have the authority to sign non-final office actions, their first office actions on the merits will be posted to their supervisor. They'll be counted, posted to the supervisor will review them in a streamlined manner. And if everything's good to go, they forward them for mailing. If there's something that should be corrected or feedback is needed to correct something better, it'll be returned to the examiner. The streamlined review is only looking at the independent claims, and we're asking the supervisors to specifically look for issues with regard to statutory categories, 101, 102, 103, 112, and then also like how is the search, how is compact prosecution, how is clarity of the record. So really, it's kind of a really streamlined on that the first office actions and really on the independent claims in that manner. The idea here is that when you think about a first office action, it really is the place where the best work has to be invested, where the best art gets put, the basis of rejections are set. It's how the story is the plot is set in the plot is set in the narrative of prosecuting an application. And we want to make sure our supervisors have an insight into how applications are being born as a first office action on a merits through prosecution, to make sure they understand what's working. Do primary examiners have a really good strength here that you want to show as a best practice and have other examiners emulate? Is there something that maybe needs a little tweaking, a little more clarity? So it's really an opportunity for our supervisors to understand the prosecution at the earliest points by our most senior and effective examiners, and make sure that starts a kind of a conversation of collaboration and feedback. Now, that said, primary examiners hold themselves very high regards of pride of their work. They've really earned full SIG. And, this new streamlined review will probably be a little friction rich originally, as you kind of pointed out. But really, I think it'll eventually turn into more of a conversation and the way of doing business that supervisors are invested and care about applications from every examiner at specifically for primaries and PSAs at the beginning of the prosecution on the first office actions on the merits.
So that's interesting. I guess 2 things I want to kind of focus on. One thing you said, that I guess the streamlined review will focus just on the independent claims.
Yep.
In the USPTO presentation, that it said that it would focus on independent and dependent claims indicated as allowable. Has that changed since that time? Will it now just focus on independent claims, and regardless of whether they're allowable or not, will it be?
Yeah, we did change that. We collect a lot of data, and we looked at data of, how often dependent claims that were indicated allowable, did they have any quality concerns from, a statistical standpoint from error review or anything else. And we found that the percentage is relatively low, but we do know the independent claims is the place where things start off from. That's where all the dependent claims penned from. That's where all the statutes kind of pivot off of. So we decided that it's more effective to focus on the independent claims and not do the dependent claims indicated a lot.